Now, it's that kind of season where wins and losses really don't matter. Playoffs are kind of long out of the window. And even if they end the year on some kind of winning streak over the next couple of weeks, you're still going to be feeling like the Grinch, right? No holiday spirit or warm and fuzzy feelings coming from that. We all knew we're just kind of knee-deep in the blame game and just kind of pointing that blame all around this season. I was actually having a conversation with some folks earlier this week. For the most part, there are two main places where the blame is pointed. Some pointed at the coaches, others point it straight at the players. And we've talked about Doug Peterson and the coaching staff a lot. There's plenty of blame to go around for everybody. I can guarantee you that. But maybe pointing the finger at the coaching staff is just too easy. Maybe a little too easy. We're going to foreshadow that a little bit. Coaches and quarterbacks get all the glory for wins and the hate for losses. It goes with the territory. It goes with the job. And it's easy to blame the coach, but because it's honestly a lot easier to replace the coach and bring in new energy there than it is to replace some of the players in the locker room. I mean, let's be serious. If it wasn't for a few late plays, like the fumble in Miami, the interception in Philly, the blown coverage against the Packers, the list goes on and on and on, the Jaguars season and the record could be very different. And whose fault is that? Coaches can't play the game for the players, and that's where the group that points the blame at the players kind of slides in. All right, think about the defense. There's been blown coverages. There's been mistakes in big games for the last 2 seasons. It's almost like you're kind of seeing double, even though the defensive coaching staff changed. Some key players also changed, and the mistakes are still just showing up every week. When that's the product that gets put on the field, why wouldn't you blame the players? To me, that's also kind of too easy of an out. The players and coaches are both in front of us every Sunday, so we see them. We see the mistakes, so that's where the mind goes and kind of associates with the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, they are part of the problem, but the real problem is the guy behind the scenes that we got to talk about right now. You don't see him most of the season. It's Trent Baalke. Hey, Trent. Scooby Doo and the gang always comes through with us. Look, make no mistakes, this is his roster, 100%. There are a grand total of 7 guys who are on this team that were here when Trent took over as the GM. So any of the problems on the roster, the players are in bad situations, they're a reflection of him. He's trying to kind of clean his name off the window there. It's Trent. Also, don't forget, this is the second coaching staff for him and Jax. Trent is a flat-out survivor, and I'm not mad at that. It's actually kind of impressive. He was on his 3rd head coach in San Francisco before they finally moved on from him. Look, that NFL stands for not for long for a lot of people, but not for Trent Baalke. I don't know what he does or says in meetings, but you know what? Caps off to him because it clearly works. It just works in meetings and not on the field, at least not anymore. Trent's an old-school guy. He got his NFL start under the old ball coach Bill Parcells. When he was back with the Jets, Trent was a scout. And he kind of still follows some of those Parcells principles, like a lot of guys around the league do. Big guys beat little guys, arm length matters, don't like guys that transfer in college. Look, those old principles, some of that stuff still works. But as the game changes, there's more and more exceptions to those rules. And Andy's moving on from those toys. And, you know, as the world changes, you have 2 choices. Change with it or get left behind like Woody did right here. And Trent hasn't changed. His draft picks have been solid, but they haven't raised the ceiling of the team. Then he overpaid in free agency year after year after year and brings in guys that kind of raise the floor of the team, but that creates the situation like this one. The Jaguars aren't very good at anything, but they're incredibly average at everything, and that's where they find themselves. The team is solid, but they have absolutely no margin for error if they're going to win games. They're just walking on a thin line. So when we all stand around kind of pointing fingers at the coaches for not doing a better job or the players for not getting the job done, that's the easy way out. In reality, it's all the puppet master that put them in this position. There have been different national reports about Trent Baalke's future with the team this week, and there was a report that came out that he's considering retire. Look, honestly, retire, resign, step down, use whatever word you need to, but it's time to cut the strings. Ultimately, Trent Baalke just needs to leave. It's really that simple. It is time for a fresh start for the Jaguars because the problem is that guy. Flat out. I don't know how else to say it, folks.